The first thing I remember was the sharp sting across my shoulder blade, followed by a gruff voice barking in my ear. "Hey, deli girl, where's the hair dye section?" I actually stumbled, nearly dropping the clipboard I was holding. 1 second, I was just Astrid, humming along, my bright pink deli apron flapping gently as I hurried to the pharmacy for some forgotten supplies for work. The next, a heavy hand had slammed into my back, and some entitled jerk was breathing down my neck. "Excuse me?" I gasped, spinning around. Standing over me was this beefy dude, maybe mid-40s, with a smarmy grin and eyes that just oozed impatience. He looked like he ate entitlement for breakfast. He pointed a stubby, accusatory finger at my bright pink uniform. "Don't play dumb. You work here, right? Now, where's the hair dye? I'm in a hurry." I honestly just stared at him for a second. My pink apron, my deli apron, obviously screamed food service, not pharmacy. "Sir, I don't work here," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I work at the deli down the street." "This is my uniform, but I'm just running an errand at the pharmacy." He scoffed, rolling his eyes like I'd just told him pigs could fly. "Yeah, right, like I haven't heard that one before. Stop wasting my time, lady. I need that dye now." Before I could even respond, he actually reached out, his thick fingers grabbing the tied ribbon of my apron right at my collarbone. His grip was surprisingly strong. He gave it a sharp yank, pulling me forward off balance. "You do work here, don't you dare lie." My throat caught. Not quite a full choke, but it was enough to make my vision swim for a second, the fabric pressing hard against my windpipe. This wasn't just annoying anymore, this was physical. "Hey, let go of me," I practically yelled, trying to bat his hand away, a surge of adrenaline hitting me. He just tightened his grip, pulling me even closer. His breath smelled like stale coffee and cheap cigarettes. His eyes narrowed. "Where's the hair dye, deli girl?" I was starting to genuinely panic now. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was straight up assault. "Let go of me," I hissed through gritted teeth, trying to wrench myself away. My bright pink apron, usually a symbol of my harmless deli job, was now a choke collar, taut and threatening. He leaned in, his face inches from mine, a sneer plastered across it. "You'll tell me where it is, or we'll be here all day, sweet cheeks." That sweet cheek snapped something inside me. All the fear curdled into pure, unadulterated fury. I stopped struggling against his grip and with a desperate surge brought my knee up hard, aiming for his groin. It wasn't a perfect hit, but it connected with enough force to make him grunt, his face contorting in pain, and briefly, blessedly loosen his grip. That was my chance. I tore free, ripping the apron strings right off one side, the fabric snapping against my neck as I stumbled backward, gasping for air. "I'm calling the real security, you creep," I screamed, fumbling for my phone. My voice trembling but loud enough to cut through the quiet hum of the pharmacy. From behind the counter, the pharmacist, a woman with kind eyes who'd been discreetly watching the whole thing unfold, suddenly sprang into action. "Sir, you need to leave this young lady alone immediately, or I'm calling the police right now." She already had her phone to her ear. The guy, clutching himself, looked around, startled by the sudden, focused attention. He saw the pharmacist on the phone, then looked at me, my apron hanging half off, my face probably red as a tomato, shaking with anger. The smugness finally drained from his face, replaced by a flicker of embarrassment and outright anger. He spat out a muttered, "Fine, whatever," and practically scuttled out of the pharmacy, still grumbling under his breath about lying deli girls. I stood there, still shaking, clutching the torn apron, the broken string dangling. The pharmacist came over, her expression full of concern. "Are you okay, honey? Do you want me to still call the police?" That was absolutely unacceptable. I shook my head, still catching my breath. "No, I just need to get these supplies and get back to work." My voice was wobbly. That bright pink apron, now broken, felt heavy and ridiculous. I couldn't wait to rip it off the second I got back to the deli. Some days you just can't win, even when you're just trying to do your job.
This next story might destroy your faith in humanity, but first subscribe so we can keep making these videos.
One minute I'm lost in the sweet, icy embrace of the freezer section at my local Walmart, headphones blasting some chill lo-fi beats, my mind miles away fantasizing about Rocky Road. The next, a jolt. A sharp, violent yank that ripped my precious headphones right off my head, sending them clattering to the linoleum floor. The sudden silence, punctuated by the faint hum of the freezers, was deafening. My heart hammered. I spun around, half expecting some kid messing around, but instead I was face to face with pure, unadulterated fury. This woman, who I'd soon mentally dub a Queen Karen, stood there, chest puffed out, hands on her hips, looking like she was about to explode. Her face was flushed, a vein pulsed in her temple, and before I could even process what the hell just happened, she let loose. "Finally took you long enough to pay attention," she shrieked, her voice cutting through the Arctic air like a rusty saw. "You shouldn't be listening to that racket while you're supposed to be working. Get off your phone and help me find the organic gluten-free kale chips now." I just blinked, utterly dumbfounded. My headphones lay there, a casualty of her rage. I leaned down slowly to pick them up, my mind reeling. Working? Me? I'm wearing a band t-shirt and jeans, lady, not a goddamn Walmart vest. As I straightened up, my confusion morphed into a simmering annoyance. Under my breath, just barely audible, I muttered, "What a crazy woman." Big mistake. Her eyes narrowed to slits. "What did you just say to me?" she hissed, leaning in, her breath smelling faintly of stale coffee and desperation. "You shouldn't talk to me like that." And that's when my last shred of patience snapped. The absurdity of it all, the sudden aggression, the outright assault on my personal space and property, it was too much. My blood started to boil. I looked her dead in the eye. "You know what, Karen?" I retorted, my voice surprisingly steady despite the rage bubbling inside me. "You're the one who just ripped my headphones off my head for absolutely no reason. I think you're the crazy one here." Oh, she didn't like that one bit. Her face went from beet red to an alarming shade of purple. Before I could even react, she lunged, her fingers digging into my bicep like a vice. "That's it, you're coming with me to your manager right now." "You're gonna get fired," she snarled, trying to physically haul me towards the front of the store. The grip was surprisingly strong, and for a split second, I felt a surge of panic mixed with pure indignation. This woman was actually assaulting me. Without thinking, a raw, guttural roar burst from my lungs. It wasn't a word, just a loud, primal yell born of shock, pain, and utter disbelief. My scream did the trick. It was loud enough to echo off the high ceilings, startling Karen so badly that she yelped and instantly let go of my arm. Her grip loosened so fast that her own purse, which she'd been clutching, slipped from her shoulder and clattered to the floor, spilling its contents, a rogue lipstick, a crumpled receipt, and, ironically, a half-eaten bag of conventional potato chips. The commotion, as expected, drew attention. Within seconds, a blur of blue vests appeared. The store manager, a harried-looking guy named Mike, and a broad-shouldered security guard came jogging up, their faces etched with concern. "What in the world is going on here?" Mike asked, surveying the scene. Me, breathing heavily, rubbing my now-sore bicep, Karen, flustered and scrambling to pick up her purse contents, and my poor headphones still lying on the floor. "She assaulted me," I blurted out, pointing at Karen, my voice still a little shaky. She ripped my headphones off, then grabbed my arm and tried to drag me. Karen immediately launched into her own indignant explanation, a jumbled mess of accusations about me being a lazy employee and talking back. But before she could finish, a calm, clear voice cut through the chaos. "Excuse me," a sweet woman from the next aisle over said, stepping forward. "I saw the whole thing. He wasn't doing anything but looking at ice cream. She just walked up, ripped his headphones off, and started yelling at him for not working. Then she grabbed his arm." Mike and the security guard exchanged a look. Mike, bless his soul, quickly separated us, directing me to one side and Karen to the other. He listened patiently to each of us, mostly Karen yelling, me trying to keep my story concise. After getting my side and confirming with the witness, he turned to me, his expression firm. "Sir, do you want to press charges?" he asked, his gaze flicking to Karen, who had gone completely silent. Honestly, all I wanted was my damn rocky road, and to go home and forget this whole insane ordeal. "No," I sighed, rubbing my temples. "I just want my ice cream and I want to go home." Mike nodded. "All right, go get your ice cream. We'll handle this." As I walked towards the checkout, a profound sense of relief washing over me, I glanced back. The security guard was calmly but firmly escorting Karen out of the store, her face a mask of furious indignation. Mike caught my eye and gave me a small, reassuring nod, mouthing, "It's on us." I left Walmart with my ice cream, the chilling memory of Karen's grip on my arm still lingering. You know, sometimes you just gotta pick your battles. It's not worth arguing with truly entitled people. Stay calm, let the universe sort out the crazy, and just get your ice cream, because a good scoop of Rocky Road definitely beats a shouting match with a Karen any day of the week. Thanks for listening, folks. Drop your own crazy shopping stories in the comments. Stay safe out there.
"I don't want to talk to you," he sneered, pointing a shaky finger directly at Mike. "I want to talk to a man." My jaw almost hit the polished marble floor of the high-end liquor store. Seriously, in this day and age? But hey, it was just another Tuesday at the Cellar, our fancy schmancy wine and spirits place. You know the type, dim lighting, dusty rare bottles, prices that make your wallet weep. And as always, a fresh crop of customers who thought their money bought them universal dominion. I'm Bryce, by the way, and buckle up because this one was a doozy. It all started, like most train wrecks, with a simple misunderstanding, or rather a customer's inability to grasp basic human interaction. This guy, let's call him Mr. Monocle, because he had that air of condescending old money, even if he wasn't actually wearing one, stomped and looking like he was about to drop serious cash on something ridiculously expensive. He zeroes in on Bob, one of our most loyal regulars who's usually in here at least 3 times a week. Bob, bless his heart, often comes straight from his part-time gig at the local library, still sporting his official City of Town Name Library name tag. Not exactly the Cellar uniform, but you'd think the difference would be obvious. "Excuse me," Mr. Monocle huffed, already sounding annoyed. "Do you work here?" Bob, who's got a mischievous twinkle in his eye and a dry wit, just smiled. "Nah, pal, just a humble patron like yourself." He even gestured vaguely around at the expensive shelves. Mr. Monocle's face pinched. "But you're wearing a name tag." "Oh, this?" Bob chuckled, tapping his library name tag. "Yeah, from my other job. Pretty wild, huh? You'd think they'd let me keep it on while I'm hunting for a good single malt, wouldn't ya?" Bob's grin was infectious to anyone sane, but it just seemed to grate on Mr. Monocle. His face flushed a truly impressive shade of beet red. "Well, I need to speak to a manager." Immediately, he practically shrieked. Bob just shrugged, still smiling. "Couldn't tell you who that is, honestly. Maybe ask someone who actually works here?" He gestured towards the cashier stand, subtly hinting. That's when Mike, our manager, walked into the fray. Mike isn't just a manager, he's the manager. Picture a guy who looks like he could have played a stoic detective in a 70s crime flick, tall, broad, with a no-nonsense gaze that could cut through concrete, but a genuinely calm demeanor. He'd heard the raised voices, of course. Mike, ever the professional, stepped in smoothly. "Everything all right here, sir?" he asked, his voice low and steady. Mr. Monocle, puffing himself up, spun towards Mike. "Finally, a competent employee. I need to know about your Scotch selection. Specifically, your aged peated malts." He launched into a rapid-fire list of extremely specific high-end Scotch questions. Mike, knowing his inventory like the back of his hand, gave him a detailed, knowledgeable breakdown. He talked about flavor profiles, distilleries, vintages. He really laid it all out. Mr. Monocle listened intently, nodding along, even looked momentarily impressed. Then, just as Mike finished explaining a particularly rare bottle, Mr. Monocle's face twisted into that familiar sneer. That's when he dropped the line that made my jaw drop. "I don't want to talk to you," he said, pointing a shaky finger directly at Mike. "I want to talk to a man." The air went dead silent. Bob, who'd been quietly enjoying the show, actually stopped smiling. Mike, for his part, didn't even flinch. His expression remained utterly calm, but there was a subtle hardening around his eyes. "Sir," Mike said, his voice dropping a notch, "I am the manager of this store, and I assure you I am very much a man." Mr. Monocle just scoffed, waving a dismissive hand. No, I mean a real man. Someone who actually knows about these things, not you. Get your manager over here." Mike slowly took a step closer, his presence suddenly feeling a lot more imposing. "Sir, I am the manager, and with all due respect, your comments are completely inappropriate. If you cannot conduct yourself respectfully, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Mr. Monocle's face went from red to purple. "Ask me to leave? Do you know who I am? I spend thousands in this store. I'll have your job. I'll call the police. You can't refuse service to me." "Actually, sir," Mike replied, still remarkably composed, "I can, and I am. Consider this your final warning. Please leave, or I'll be forced to contact security myself, and we'll have to consider you trespassing." The guy sputtered, completely caught off guard by Mike's unwavering authority. He looked around wildly as if expecting someone to back him up. No one did. Bob was now practically vibrating with suppressed laughter. "This is outrageous," Mr. Monocle shrieked, finally stomping his foot like a petulant child. "You'll regret this. I'll never shop here again." "That's perfectly fine, sir," Mike said, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. "We'll manage." Mr. Monocle continued to bluster and make vague threats all the way to the door, slamming it behind him with a theatrical flourish. The entire store was quiet for a beat, and then a ripple of applause started near the wine section. Bob actually gave Mike a little salute. Mike just shook his head, a small smile finally breaking through his stoic facade. "Some days," he muttered, "I really earn my paycheck."
This next video hits the same vibe. Check it out.